What was your fanfic about?
Lord of the Rings, mostly Legolas.
Yours were totally sexual, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. What if your cat that's like meow all the time is just like you're like understanding what it's saying, but it's not saying anything? Like, what if you can't communicate at all because they're not actually saying anything?
Hello everyone, welcome back to our shared channel. Today on Overshare, we are sharing our channel, that I feel like I just said, with Mari!
Mari, or
Atomic Mari.
Oh, wow.
First name
Throwing
Atomic,
in
last
that
name Mari.
handle.
So we have a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on, but quickly, just to give you guys like a little bit of background, we've known Mari for like 7, 8, 10
Yeah,
years.
something
a
like
long
We're
that.
time.
actually meeting.
And we were all a part of this like huge media storm craziness when DEFY shut down. More on that later. First things first, Lil, let's kick it off with our very important signature question.
I was like, what are you putting me on the spot for? What? Yes, so Mari, we start the show with a question, just a little icebreaker.
Okay.
Some people think it's weird, other people relate to us, and
Deeply relate.
I'm hoping that it's gonna be the latter. Which cartoon character sparked your sexual awakening when you were a
Or
child?
like a crush when you were a kid. She knows.
Love it, knew it.
Gargoyles.
Not the answer I was expecting.
No,
How
it's a strange
sexual.
answer to have to talk about. As a kid, it feels totally natural to have a crush on the lead gargoyle who's really buff and like large and like
What
strong.
film? Was that a film? Gargoyles?
It wasn't
Like Hunchback of...
No, he wasn't a hunchback. He was very okay.
No, I feel like
Lisa,
there are
look him
gargoyles in
up.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
He's the lead gargoyle in Gargoyles, and he's like the hero. And during the day, he has to sleep because he's like a gargoyle, and so he becomes a statue.
Gargoyles like vamp. Oh.
But then at night, he's like, woo, and he flies around.
Some gargoyles.
Yeah,
Oh,
man, that's my
damn.
man
Okay,
right
actually,
there.
I'm gonna take back any judgment that I just threw your way because that actually looks like it's more like a person. If you
the
took the
wings
wings away,
away.
it looks like a normal character.
He still has talons.
You said gargoyle, and I thought like Gollum-y, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's still not good.
Well, I don't know if
You
you
were
know who
into
ours
the
are.
physique,
so,
I guess.
I mean,
ours
ours
are
were
weirder.
animals. Like, so you actually maybe have the most normal answer. Mine is teenage Simba.
You know, like the one with the mohawk that's only in the movie for like 5 minutes.
When he's like, "Can you feel the love tonight?" And I'm like, "Yes, I can."
For a
I
moment,
can.
you see him bobbing his head.
Literally,
during
that's like the only
Hakuna
time he's in the movie is when it transitions over that. Yep.
It's very specifically teenage Simba. But then you also like
Robin Hood.
the fox.
Yeah.
Oh, the fox Robin Hood. Yeah. No, these are not okay answers.
No, yours is probably the most okay so far.
Like a weird, like anamorph, like gothic man.
Yeah, but it's more human. Anyways, we could obviously discuss this topic at length, which is why we talk about it in every episode. But I do actually remember where Mari and I met, and this is so long ago. It was at VidCon.
That's where we met?
Yes, and this was in early Smosh days. Smosh Games did not exist, but Smosh and Clever had been purchased by a company called Alloy Digital, and we were all brought together at VidCon for the first time. Like, that was in 2012, so
I was gonna say that was a
7 years
long time ago. If you don't know who Mari is, she is part of Smosh, and
Yep.
she was the first girl ever to be involved at all with Smosh. I feel like you really opened the doors.
We were at an event the other night together. Someone asked you, like, how did you get involved with Smosh? I don't know how many people know, but like being especially that you were the first additional cast member besides Ian and Anthony, like it's truly impressive.
It was really unexpected.
Well,
It
and that
wasn't
she was a
planned
professional
at all.
ballerina before that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing ballet, so I never thought that I would have any other offshoot careers. It's the type of career that you start when you're a kid, and then when you commit to making that your career, you do it until like your hips break.
It's like an
Right.
all-in kind of thing. You don't have time to do other stuff.
And so it's like there was no veering off. Like I would have never thought that I would do that. And then it was like I was on like basically the Craigslist of like what actors, dancers, artists do in San Francisco.
Was it like LA casting?
It was SF
Yeah.
casting.
Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
it was their SF like version of that. And I came across this posting that paid $50.
And this is what?
Yes.
What year?
2010.
So like when YouTube first started taking off.
Kind of, yeah. But like I was so detached from YouTube. Like I just watched like Ryan Higa and like Michelle Phan and things like that. that when this came up is like, it pays $50. They need somebody who speaks Japanese for a sketch comedy, like one-time YouTube show. I was like, whatever, it pays $50.
You're like,
It'll
$50,
pay
I'm rich. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
I was stoked on it. But I honestly just didn't know who they were until I went home that night and did some research. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
They only paid me $50.
They're the #1 channel on like YouTube. So that was weird. That was fun.
But how do you go from like doing this one video? By the way, do you remember any of the lines?
Yeah, what was it?
I was supposed to be playing a Japanese intern at Pokemon headquarters in Japan, and I have to give the news to like Mr. Pokemon, who's also this Japanese guy, run in and say like, the Smosh boys are at it again. They're making YouTube videos or something like that. But I said it all in Japanese.
That's so funny. But so how do you get from that to then becoming a part of like the main Smosh crew, and then later on, literally founding a whole new brand alongside these guys? Smosh Games, which has now grown to become a whole huge thing all its own. So like, what is that timeline like? Because I kind of knew you through that whole thing.
Yeah.
I even remember when Smosh Games launched, we were in the old Hollywood office.
That's right.
Because it used to be Clever Games before it was Smosh Games, you guys.
That's right. I think all of my entire career has been like aloofness the entire way. At that first shoot with them for the Pokemon thing, they asked if I would come back the following day for an audition for a recurring role. And so I almost didn't show up. Because I was like, I'm gonna like do like a 3-hour drive for
That's $50 of gas probably.
Yeah, exactly. But I hadn't booked anything else to do, and I didn't have any dancing gigs the following day, so I did show up. I came into it like thinking that it was gonna be like a sit-down interview, you know, so like let's talk about your goals and how we can fit together. I walk in, and Ian Anthony and director Ryan Todd, who's still working with them, is on one side of the room, and I walk in, and there's a crappy camera just faced, and then they're like, okay, let's start. All right, what's your favorite Pokemon? And I was like, I'm sorry?
You're like, what is this?
Like,
what
am I
is
supposed to
going
speak
on?
Japanese?
Yeah, and so like I'm answering these questions, but with sort of like the attitude of like,
Why are you asking me this? Yeah.
you know, and the questions were like, what are 3 things you would bring to a zombie apocalypse?
Good questions.
All
all good questions.
Essential.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm here to talk about my career and what I can provide for your company.
And they're like, yeah, so zombie apocalypse, go.
Like a week later, that video goes live.
Oh, that was a video that they were actually shooting?
Yeah, and this is so
Why
like,
haven't we seen it?
it's
Insert here.
It's called the worst audition ever.
What are 3 things you'd bring in a zombie apocalypse?
Someone else so that they can eat them first. And then food. Double chocolate chip cookies.
And like I'm on like the thumbnail of it.
So you obviously got the job, whatever the job was,
Yeah.
right?
Did they totally pick, or did they like wait till the video goes up and like see who the fans liked?
Half and half. So the fans liked me because they're like, she's cool. Like it's like she doesn't even care about this. And I'm like,
I don't.
I'm like, honestly, I didn't know what it was. And then I think like a couple months go by and I hear nothing. So I message Ian, who I befriended on Facebook, and I sent him a message, and I'm pretty sure the subject line was, can I has job?
Very internet of you.
Very,
Very
internet.
fantastic
Yeah.
of you.
I was like, okay, this is an internet
Can
guy.
I has job?
Yeah. And I was like, hey, what's up with that thing? We haven't heard back. And Ian's like, oh, that's a really good reminder. Thank you for that. I'll get back to you soon on that.
2 years later.
And like a couple weeks later, they're like, hey, do you want the job? And that's kind of how it turned out.
That's what I've always like been so impressed by. One of the things with you is that you already had this successful career in ballet, which now that Black Swan is a movie that's out, people kind of understand what goes in. And
I don't know.
no, but I mean they understand.
Is that relevant?
No, but I think people understand at least physically like what
How
goes in,
demanding it
and
is.
discipline-wise what goes into that career. And I'm curious to know, how did that kind of like prepare you? Because there's not many things I can think of that require as much discipline, physically, mentally, all across the board as like a ballet career.
Yeah, did you finish that and you were like, go to Smosh? You're like, this is easy. What else do you need me to do?
Honestly, so much of it does feel that way, where it's like I can never complain. Like if I have been able to withstand the pain of like being in pointe shoes with a broken toe and like continuing on dancing for the next like 45 minutes on that, like it's such a different life, but I was able to bring in so many things that I learned in ballet over. And I think that if most people feel that way about past jobs.
I was actually talking to a friend recently, and we were saying that with so many YouTubers now, like by like 22, they have like made so much money, they've had all of the success that that's amazing, and I'm like, that must be so cool. But at the same time, if you don't have like the struggle to compare it to, does it feel as
exciting? I mean,
Yeah,
I would
sure.
honestly say, I mean, all of us have been doing this forever. You had like a whole separate career and like a whole different life. I think it makes you really appreciate every single moment so much, I think. And then, I mean, like to flash forward, then you start Smosh Games, which becomes wildly successful. And it was so fun to watch you guys get like straight up famous.
I feel like because we've seen not this life beforehand, and we can see it from that sort of like overview effect of like this is not normal and it's crazy, and there's so much to be grateful for because we know that.
I am curious though to know, like, okay, so you think about, and like I hate the question, like I hope soon enough all these like questions / panels about like women in gaming. What is it like to be a girl who likes to play games? I'm like, how about what is it like to just be a human?
do you get your nails done afterwards?
Yeah, but I think you know
Obviously
that,
not.
Same girl. I think it is really interesting just based on like a lot of statistics probably, and you could speak on this, like the career you had previously with ballet was probably more female dominated. And this gaming world, although I feel like it is getting more diverse day by day, when you got into it probably was more male dominated, and you have lived at the top of both of those worlds. Like, how do they compare?
I think when I was in the dance world, because there were so many women, we were paid nothing. We were the scraps. We were extremely replaceable. If you weren't able to do your job, there was somebody the exact same stature as you, the exact same talent as you, who could replace you like that. And they made you know that every single moment. And so because of that, our contracts were trash. You know, like dancers don't get paid that much anyway.
But you were on San Francisco casting.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like we already didn't have that much leeway, but coming from that sort of place and fighting for contracts, and like I demanded that I got paid the same as my male counterparts, and I lost out on a lot of jobs.
Who cares? That's great.
Yeah, I lost out on a lot of job opportunities because of that, but my partner, Jenkins, if you're watching this, you're awesome. He vouched for me, and he said,
amazing.
I want to dance with this partner, and she needs to be paid the same amount.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like it was a really like interesting switch in how I thought about things. Jump to me in the gaming industry. I'm like, okay, I am in an industry where I can represent women who are underrepresented. This is something that both like audience members want to see, women want to see this, companies want to see this. So pay me more. Like I saw it as an opportunity to corner a market that, you know, hasn't been talked about enough. And so I'm like, if you want me here, then pay me what I deserve. And there's not enough of us.
And what you've earned, because I think what a lot of people don't see when they watch the finished product of a YouTube video, like what you guys are creating or what we are, is that there is so much work and truly professionalism that needs to go into an amazing product or an amazing piece of content. And you are like the most professional. Like, talk a little bit about like the things people don't see, because like I've been on, you know, some of your shows before where we're just silly and having fun and similar to this, but like the back end of all of that is like complex.
It's like this is a 10-minute snapshot into our entire week, and that's what you get to see out of our entire week. And the rest of it is so different. You know, it's like we have a podcast on Smosh now called Smoshcast, where our candor is very much like this. It's like how you normally would talk without cameras and just like discuss things. And our energy level, I would say, is like a 2 versus a 10 for our normal videos. And I think it's so important in the age where we're talking about mental health and, you know, like keeping yourself healthy and all that stuff, that audience members understand what it actually means to be a YouTuber.
Exactly.
Because it's like, this much of like having fun and showing that off and like showing off your glamorous life, and like this much of like putting on a mask at 6:30 in the a.m.
Or
to not
driving out
be
to
like
the desert to shoot the Summer Games, which by the way looks so freaking
The
awesome.
trailer, I was losing it.
2 people almost passed out during that.
I heard
trailer.
it was very hot.
Yeah,
It was very
like
warm.
it was dramatic.
You are truly one of the most hardworking people out there. And I just love seeing when you get like amazing opportunities, like walking at New York Fashion Week. Like that was a very cool thing to be a part of, especially the messaging behind what it was. What along the way have been the most like whoa moments you've ever had?
But New York Fashion Week, like I'm like 5'2". I have no reason to be on any sort of runway ever.
Disagree. I disagree. I think we need more representation across the board of small people.
I'm
Thank
sure I
you.
came
Give
out
the
and they're like,
shorties a
who's
chance."
that child?
You never would have pictured yourself, you're like, I'm 5'2", I'm never gonna be walking on a runway. That you've been able to get these opportunities through doing something that is true to yourself, that people want to see that.
Yeah, it's weird because like things that I've always been hung up on my entire life, like my height and how I look and like just who I am, are the exact things that are being highlighted. And
Yes.
like what a weird,
yes,
cool
yes.
time to live in.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it's happening like all across the board. I just keep going back to like this is the best damn generation that people could live in.
It's people want to reward you for being yourself.
Yeah.
And it used to be like you're shamed for being yourself.
So much so, you know, and it's like for me personally, like I grew up in a very like non-Asian like culture, and so like I absolutely like repressed everything that was Asian about me. Like I would throw out my bento boxes during lunch so that I wouldn't get like bullied about it, and I'm like, you know, like I really just hated who I
now
was.
bento
for so
boxes
long.
are like trending on YouTube.
They are, and I'm like, wow, I never learned how to make these. What an idiot I am.
That's amazing though, that you finally do get to, and that you then get to like keep that going and encourage other people to.
Yeah. I don't think I'm an anomaly, right? Like a lot of people in so many different ways have had to like banish parts of who they are because it wasn't accepted. And now it's a time where it's like, no, come out of that. You know, it's just be who you are, and it's freaking cool.
No, it really is. And I think like the other cool thing is that, I mean, like you were talking about people who are like 21 who find this success on YouTube. I just think I'm personally grateful that like I'm in my 30s and have experienced this whole thing. And I think it's good for some of us to like talk about all the work and decades we've put in, because it's realistic. Like it's truly not realistic that you become an overnight sensation on YouTube or in Hollywood or in music or in the law or whatever by the age of 20 or 21. Like that is extraordinary, but not super normal.
You do always hear about like isn't it Michael Jordan like went out for his high
baseball
school
team or
team or
basketball
something
team at
and
high
like didn't
school.
make it, and it's like you hear those and you're like, yeah, but like they're like the exception. I'm like, no, I feel like that's mostly the rule, is that like the people had a lot of failures and the exception is these people that were like, oh my god, like
Exactly.
this just happened overnight.
Now kind of segueing into this like crazy thing all of us went through like 6 to 9 months ago with our company shutting down. DEFY Media was the parent company that owned Clever and Smosh, which is how we work together all the time or in the same building. But even before that, both of you guys had kind of already stepped back from your responsibilities, which I personally view as something that's very brave and risky.
And we
in
had
a
a lot of
positive way.
conversations about it, and I feel like I thank you because you were always because you left first, and I'm like, Mari, you got out. Tell me what it's like. And she's like, you need to leave now. I've made more money in the last month than I have in 5 years. And I'm like, you're right, I should leave.
It was such a weird, like, Stockholm syndrome-y place because I think we stuck around so much because we loved each other.
You
know?
felt
It's
left
like,
out. If like I lived so close to the office, there would be times that I like didn't have to go in. I'd like
Same.
work the day before, but then it's like, but they're all there. Like I feel like I should just go in because like then I'm gonna miss out.
Yeah, it's like you love the like working with the people around you so much, but like the overarching like place that you are in is like jail, but like the community you have right there is so wonderful.
I even think of it kind of like school. Like you didn't like going to class necessarily, but you liked like recess.
And lunch.
Yeah.
Yes,
Lunch.
exactly.
I had left in 2018, I want to say, and I didn't make a video about it. I didn't make a why I left Smosh sort of thing. I still wanted to be a part of it. I just needed to have more time.
Though, not to spill any tea, but I know for me that it was like, I was like gonna stay on freelance and still make appearances, but they didn't want people to know that I just was like piecing out because they're like, we don't want anyone to panic. So it was like in my contract that they were gonna approve how I said that I was leaving.
Really?
But then the f***ing company shut down. I've been emailing, I'm like, can I say this? Can I say this? And all of a sudden it's like Variety article, and I'm like, so no. But
You're
like,
emailing a company that doesn't exist anymore.
oh, I was emailing the president, and he texted me 4 days later and was like, sorry, now you know why I wasn't answering.
Oh
Let
my
me know if you need anything.
Gosh.
Well,
Sorry,
now.
now you know.
But was there nothing in your contract that said you couldn't say anything?
No, I mean, I think it's in regular talent contracts where it's like, don't say anything disparaging.
Yeah.
But honestly, for me, like having Anthony leave and make a video, and then some other like Smosh Games people make a video about it, I'm like, this is too much for the audience, honestly. And it's like, I realize that fandoms like see it as like something that is really jarring to them, even though it might not be internally.
Yeah.
It's like I was still there as often as I needed to be in order to make videos. Like from the outside, nothing would have been different. It would have
But
just,
even what we said earlier is that they don't understand necessarily the work going into it. So you not being a part of that work, they don't know what is differentiating you being there and you not.
I left for selfish reasons, to have more time for myself and
that's
to like
not
grow
selfish.
my business. That I didn't need another like thing on top of it to be like why I left. It's like I didn't really leave, you know, like I was
there a
given
little less,
time.
so then I can do more.
Yeah, exactly.
Cut to, obviously, the whole company shuts down. It was a very crazy day.
What a day!
What a day.
Were you
I
there?
was, you know.
Yeah, I went in after the email came through, but I wasn't in on that day. So then I showed up at like 4 or 5 p.m.
And it was like the building's on fire and there's people like ripping TVs off the walls.
Honestly,
literally
yeah.
There was a lot of crazy things happening. Clever was on one side of the building and Smosh was on the other side. And it was like probably 11 p.m. And since I was like the only person working there, I felt like, I was like, I guess I'll go find some other people and see what's going on. You guys were straight up throwing a rager on the other side of the office.
It's the only time I've
was
ever
fun.
felt like I was part of Team 10 or something like that. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going crazy. Let's take this television carefully off the wall.
I heard that she's like, I walked over and people are just taking shots and like drinking and
was
I just didn't
fun.
know what was going on.
I have a little video of it, actually, that's in the video I made when the whole company shut down, and it was like the brightest moment in the whole night. Everyone was still like celebrating despite the circumstances.
It was somber celebration. There was drinking. There was guitars out. People in a circle, just kind of like
Kumbaya moment.
There were some tears. There was like 50 boxes of pizza.
Things could not have turned out better, at least from my perspective. I think for us, we feel like so happy and fulfilled, and I'm so glad Clever found her new home, like so grateful for that. And you guys, I mean, it was a long ass process.
Yeah.
And I was in touch with Ian like throughout the whole thing, and it was very challenging, but like what a leader he was. That was awesome. And now you guys have a new home with Rhett and Link.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know. It was a weird, scary road. There was a time where like Ian honestly thought that the IP was just gone. Like it was completely out of his hands. Like it might just go to somebody.
It's just like in limbo at the bank. And
Either limbo at the bank or somebody, a foreign company or something would buy it and then dissolve it because they don't care about it. That they don't, maybe the company won't care that there's a whole lineage around it.
Sell it up for scraps.
Exactly. But now we're thriving.
Yeah,
It is
girl.
like-
Got VidCon this year. We like are seeing you guys like on posters, on like you have a booth. There's all this stuff, and we're like, hey, remember when we were divided? None of that ever happened. Like what? This
that
year
weird?
was it crazy this year to like actually go as like a legit like YouTube channel that people actually were inviting places and doing things?
It was actually
without
like-
having to call in favors.
Right. Oh my God. Like it's the first year that I felt like it was the first year that I went, when it was just kind of like no rules, right? It's like, all right, you guys have a Q&A. How do you want to do this? Oh, we all want to be on stage together. It's like, not because some people belong over here because of the branding. Games is games, and it has to be these certain people because of that's how it's packaged better.
Don't you feel like there were just decisions being made just because like people didn't have anything else to do? So it was like, well, I have to make a decision, so it makes me feel like I'm being productive. But it was like, why? No one cared. Why did it matter?
They were like, I feel like there were decisions not made by like human beings who knew
It was like robots that are like, this is how a YouTube channel works.
Yeah. And obviously it's not, because it's like
It didn't work.
It went really well.
It didn't work out in the end, but it did work out in the end because you guys are doing better than ever. And I talked to like a bunch of like your teammates at VidCon, and the content I think is like better.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It just feels
like
very
you guys are
connected
making
to it.
Yeah, it's like for the first time it feels like we have an actual say in it, and there isn't like a faceless person just being like, no, this doesn't work with the overall creed of your company. And it's like, wait, we didn't come up with that creed. We don't know what a creed is.
There's nothing
Why are
worse-
you telling us what
Creed
it
is a band that we don't even like.
There's nothing worse than having old people that don't make your content tell you that you're being off brand. You're like, I am the brand. What are you
Exactly.
talking about?
Before we wrap up this final question though, what's next for you? You've like done so many things. Whether it's at Smosh or in your own life or career, like what are you excited about?
Stunt stuff.
Stunt
I
stuff.
like joke that it's gonna be wrestling, and she's like stunts.
Are you becoming a stunt woman?
You
were in a commercial.
I'm slowly like trying to like do more training stuff.
Wait, I could totally see all of that happening.
I just got an opportunity to do a little stunt day with Hobbs and Shaw and like their stunt coordinator.
Oh yes, I saw that.
So that was a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll do a lot more training. Oh, and I'm also shooting my second short action film in Vegas. The first one hasn't come out yet, but I
was
just
gonna
wanna
say,
do more
what?
stuff.
There's a first one?
Yeah, it's in post-production, but I want to do more stunt stuff, so that's, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning of this, you are a legend and an icon, and we've only tipped the surface, the iceberg. The
Tipped
top
the
has come
surface
off.
of
I don't even know what
What
she's
is that
saying,
word?
but
Scratch the
oh my God.
surface.
Thank you, Lisa,
Of
for
the
telling
tip of the
Jocelyn how
iceberg.
words work. But I truly do think you're one of those people that anytime I hear of you do like having another success in your life, I'm like,
Duh.
Like,
Obviously.
oh, like you're just good at everything you do because you work really hard.
Thanks, you guys. I feel the same way about you guys. Honestly, you're like you guys are like, all right, we're gonna start a new company. Here it is, and it's like,
What day is it?
I know.
like
It's crazy.
it was like a
fever dream.
day after, and you guys are like, oh yeah, we have an office, we got a crew, we've got lights, we've got cameras, we got everything. It's like,
A lot of
It's
beverages. I will not be chiming in. This is all Mari, all rapid fire, not slow burn. Would you like to travel back in time or to the future?
future for sure. It has never been good for women or people of color in the press. Oh, I would definitely don't want to go in the past. Are you kidding? Can you imagine me in like 1700 London? It'd be like,
No,
what
too
are
hot.
you doing here?
Too many clothes, Mari.
Also, people didn't brush their teeth like we do
Okay,
now.
lightning round, Mari. Moving
Sorry,
on.
I
What's your
don't
favorite
like
day
the
of the week?
past. I like Mondays. Only because people hate Mondays. So I'm like, I love Mondays. Why
You're still
not?
the counter. I love it.
Why not embrace the Mondays? You know?
Like our job is too flexible to be like Mondays. I'm still in bed sleeping. Stance on socks with sandals.
Oh, I'm Asian. I think it's great. You have to keep your feet like clean, even if you're going outside to like, for a moment.
Yeah.
But then you have to have your outside sandals versus your inside sandals. You need your bathroom sandals. Sometimes if you're going in the shower, like in a public place, you need your shower sandals.
That's
Like
a
in the
huge
college
sandal
dorms.
collection.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
big
Yeah, you
collection.
need like a separate closet.
Oh, you go to like the Daiso, and it's like $2 there.
Great. We're going to go there with you. It's going to be a field trip. Thank you very much. Are you guilty of being a double dipper at parties?
I'm a double dipper only with people that I know. So if we were at a party,
Double dipping.
double dipping. If we were at like a big thing, like if we were at a premiere or something and there was a dipping thing.
If you could like be exposed to people you don't know,
Yeah.
you wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't do it.
I only see Mari at premieres now, apparently. It's just
Guys
where
are so-
we hang
you-
out.
Both of you do go to a lot of premieres. I'm always sitting like in my sweats. I'm like, oh. Wow.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
I truly
just
feel like
say
you guys have
yes.
been to like 4 in the last
Recently,
month.
and good ones. It's
Good
not
ones.
like random. Shout
No.
out to Pat. We love you. Oh my gosh.
Thanks, Pat.
Oh, this is a
The
great.
publicist
This
at
one's great.
The movie studio. Are rats cute?
Are rats cute? Yes, and smart.
I think they are. Are mice smart? Are they
Yeah.
both smart?
I don't know. When I was in high school, I really wanted a black and white rat and name it Socrates. I don't know why that was
Very
like,
specific.
It is. I don't know. It's a memory that I have. Of
You
what I
weren't.
really
Parents didn't let
wanted.
it happen.
No, I think I also didn't want. I like the idea of it, but I'm like, do I really want
It's
a
like
rat?
being in a relationship. The idea of it's really great, but once you're in it, like, oh no, I have to feed this rat.
Hope Chris isn't watching this episode.
Just kidding. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals? That's rough.
No, it's not.
That is rough. I really.
Kidding? You wanted an animal named, so you wanted a rat named Socrates, and you didn't. Really?
But see, what if you talk to animals and they have nothing to say back?
You just, you
That's
don't
not,
know.
That can't be
What
true.
if- what
I
if-
refuse to believe
What
that.
if your cat that's like meow all the time is just like, it's just like, like you're like understanding what it's saying, but it's not saying anything. Like, what if you can't communicate at all because they're not actually saying anything, and you think they're being cute, but they're
You're
actually
just
not?
Acting like all animals are just brain dead inside, that they're like,
What if they're talking about things that you don't care about, and you're like, oh, what does this mean about life? And your cat's like,
Yeah, what if you're not aligned?
well, but also, like, knowing every single language would only come in handy if you're traveling a lot. Like, you wouldn't be able to speak what would
we
speaking all the
live in
languages
Los
do here.
Angeles. It's a melting pot of the world.
Yeah, but that isn't that beneficial. Like, you don't need that to get by here.
no.
If you knew
Fine.
the animals, who knows what you could do?
We do have an office dog you can
I'm not
speak
even
to.
drunk. We aren't even drinking. This is a morning episode. Why didn't we get mimosas? Last one.
Yeah, last one.
Did you have a MySpace or AIM? That's not an
You
either or, because I assume you probably
had
had
both.
both.
I had both, and a Zanga, and an Asian Avenue.
Asian Avenue? Not familiar. Weird.
You wouldn't be familiar with Asian Avenue?
Zanga, though, that's like taking it back when people used to do like live
I was going to say,
journaling.
did you do LiveJournal?
I didn't, but I did write
fiction?
fanfics, but I didn't make them public.
Megan Rinks just came on one of our last episodes, and
She
she
said hers
wrote
are
a
still
ton
out
of
there
fanfic.
somewhere.
She can't remember her username, and it's all still out there. Harry Potter fanfic. What was your
Wow.
fanfic about?
Lord of the Rings, mostly Legolas. The Prince of the Mirkwood Forest.
So my
Yes.
questions, yours were totally sexual, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. That's
Wait,
why
but
they
yours
were
were private. You didn't make yours public.
No, that's why.
Lord of the Rings erotica.
It was good too, dude.
It's like in 8th grade, like
What was like one of the stories? Like what's like the bullet point?
Classic Romeo and Juliet. I was not an elf, but I was brought in by the Prince of the
you
Mirkwood
wrote
Forest.
yourself into the fanfiction.
Isn't that the only reason why you would ever make erotic fan fiction?
I
to write
don't know.
yourself
I
in?
didn't do it.
Oh,
Not yet.
not yet. You might be the next Twilight.
Stephanie Meyer 2.0 right here.
So I was like a human girl, and then Legolas was like, oh my gosh, I love you. Let me put you on my stallion and then take you back to where I'm from. And so then it was like this whole Romeo and Juliet drama.
Oh my gosh, because your parents were probably like, we don't want you to be an elf.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, but I want to be an elf. And then did you both die?
no,
like
I
Romeo
think
and
he was
Juliet?
able to
Just have sex.
transfer. I think he was able to transfer immortality.
You gave them new powers too.
Yeah, I think that happened
take
with
a lot of
the
creative liberties.
that's
With
that's
the
how it
penetration
happened.
product, byproduct of
It was-
penetration was immortality.
Not a good.
Listen, I'm just being scientific, okay?
Wouldn't that be dope though?
That
Like-
would be. Wow.
That's,
Well, this took
honestly,
a turn.
that's how it should be.
I think that wraps us up. I think we've been talking for an hour and a half.
I know. So, Mari, before you go, we just have to truly
Oh.
say one thing to you.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh, wow. Am I part of the cult now?
Yes.
Oh, see, it's like you had a weird mix of like you're kind of creeped out, but you're kind of into it.
Yep.
It's been a very either or situation.
Yeah, no, I like being part of stuff. So thank you.
Bring your Nikes next time, and we'll give you the Kool-Aid, and we're good to go.
Wow, well, what a journey we've just been on
Yeah, I
together.
think that's it for today's episode.
I'll give $10 to the person you can find Mari's fanfic.
She never published it, she said.
It's not on the internet.
So I'll give
but
$1 million.
It's right here.
I'll give you $10. Bye.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what just happened. I blacked out.